the production possibility frontier. So what you are seeing right now is called the PPF, also known as the production possibilities curve, or PPC. So this graphical representation that you're seeing represents or illustrates different combinations of two goods and services that an economy can produce given its available resources and technology. So here are some of the key notes that you need to take note of. Number one, efficiency. This PPF you're seeing here represents the maximum potential output that an economy can achieve given its resources and technology. So the points you're seeing that are along the graph, the points that you're seeing that are point A, B, C, and D, these ones represent optimal or efficient combination of resources. So where all resources are fully employed, we are able to produce at the points that are on the PPF. Now, this PPF you are seeing also represents a trade-off. A trade-off represents an opportunity cost given the scarce resources of producing more than one good and service in sacrificing another. In this case, we are looking at two products, butter and guns. So if we're going to move from point A to point B, we'll be giving up 1 pound of butter for 4 units of guns. So this is what we call opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of 1 unit of butter equals 4 units of guns. So there's a trade-off that is happening here. 2 pounds of butter for from point A to point B can also, if you're moving from point B to point C, so 2 pounds of butter will represent an opportunity cost of 3 guns. So this is a trade-off. So a PPF also illustrates this relationship, which is inverse, because we are sacrificing 1 unit for the other. As a result, this makes the PPF to be concave. By concave, we mean it is bowed outwards, indicating that there is an increasing opportunity cost as production of one good increases. The other assumption that makes this PPF complete is on the context of scarcity. Scarcity and choice are two fundamental economic problems that need optimal decision making. So these two, especially scarcity, is what necessitates the aspect of choice. So in an economy where we're assuming that there are only 2 goods being produced, the economy cannot produce unlimited quantity. It cannot produce unlimited units of services simultaneously. So the choices must be made about how to allocate for whom and when. These are the key questions that must be articulated. The PPF also denotes economic growth. So what you can see here is unattainable points A, B, C, and D. If we had point G and point H, these points have their own implication in the economy. So producing at point H simply implies that we are being inefficient in our resource allocation, and point G is unattainable. It means we cannot achieve this kind of production, so we need to increase our technological base to attain this point. And so a PPF also signifies inefficiencies. So all points within the PPF simply show that we are producing below the potential. All PPFs outside the curve simply show unattainable points representing levels of production that are beyond our capacity. And so the PPF also demonstrates how an economy can specialize in trade. By specializing, we can achieve what we call comparative advantage. There's what we call in economics comparative and absolute advantage. Comparative advantage is one where we're able to produce more compared to the other. Yes, they produce sugar, but we produce more. Absolute advantage is where we are producing all of none of which they are producing. For instance, some countries have no resources like copper. So Zambia has absolute advantage in copper production. However, Zambia still produces maize, but Congo produces slightly smaller in comparison with ours. So we have comparative advantage and absolute advantage. So if a nation specializes in production, they'll tailor their efforts, their channel, their technology in producing. It will give them comparative advantage. Hence, the economy can achieve the point that is at G by extending production outwards. So this can only be achieved even with the very resources that we have, but with expanded technology. So this growth is what the PPF can also depict. However, if we are being wasteful and we are being unproductive, we can also shrink in an economy. So that PPF can also shrink inwards. And this is a very dire and unfortunate circumstance that an economy can undergo. PPF has its own assumptions that it thrives under. PPF assumes that resources are fixed in the short run, that technology remains constant, that all the resources that are being used efficiently. It also assumes that this model that you're seeing here, there are only two goods that are being produced. Of course, this may not depict the real world idea, but remember, the PPF is a simplified model of economic possibilities, and it serves as a very essential tool for economists in understanding concepts of scarcity, choice, cost, and economic growth. All right. So let's do a quick can you remember so far this topic that we have just highlighted. What possible theoretical questions can we expect? Right. So number one, we can be asked, what does a PPF represent? It represents different combinations of two goods that an economy can produce given its available resources and technology. Number two, what does a point on the PPF indicate? The point on the PPF simply indicates efficient utilization of resources, where all resources are fully employed and allocated in the most productive manner. Why is a concave the PPF concave? It is concave because of the increasing opportunity costs. As production of one good increases, more and more of the other will also be sacrificed. So it is concave. What is the implication of a point inside the PPF? A point inside the PPF simply signifies inefficient utilization of resources where the economy is producing below its maximum potential. What can cause a PPF to shift outwards? Factors like technological advancement, increases in resources, improvement in productivity can cause our PPF to swell outward. This may show economic growth. What is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the value of the next best alternative that must be sacrificed when making a choice. Are we following out together? Are you together?
Yes, we are.
All right. So what possible questions can we have? Other possible questions that we would have as follows. Can an economy produce a combination of goods outside the PPF? No. Outside the PPF is unattainable. With its current resources and technology, that is unattainable. What is the relationship between specialization and PPF? So specialization will allow the economy at a particular given time or at a point on the PPF to increase in efficiency, thereby lying slightly outside its own possibility. So when you specialize, you become efficient. How does the PPF with a constant slope indicate? What does it indicate? We have PPFs that are straight, that are linear. They look like this. So if we have a PPF that is a slope like this, it simply means that there is constant opportunity cost, meaning the trade-off between two goods remains the same throughout. As more of one good is produced. How does unemployment affect the PPF? So unemployment leads to points inside the PPF, indicating there's inefficient utilization of resources and we are producing below the economy's potential. Can the PPF shift inwards? And if so, why? Yes, PPF can shrink inwards due to factors like natural disasters, wars, decrease in resources, indicating a reduction in the economy's capacity, so it will shrink inward. Can a PPF be a straight line? Yes. This indicates a what? Constant opportunity cost, meaning the trade-off between two goods is the same regardless of the quantity being produced. PPF can be a straight line. Any questions so far? Are we getting somewhere?
Yes, we are following you, sir.
All right. What other possible questions can we have regarding this particular topic? We could be asked. How does technological progress impact the PPF? So technological progress can shift the PPF outwards, causing it to swell, thereby allowing increased production of goods and services with the same amount of resources. What does the point of economic inefficiency on the PPF imply? The point of economic inefficiency simply implies that resources are being underemployed and we are not allocating optimally, resulting into a below the economy's per production. Can the economy produce beyond the PPF? No, it is unattainable. How does trade affect PPF? So trade can expand the production of an economy, thereby allowing us to specialize in certain goods, which will give us comparative advantage, enabling us to reach a point at the PPF, otherwise it's unattainable. How does a decrease in the resources affect the PPF? A decrease in resources would cause the PPF to shift inwards. Other possible causes of a shrink inward could be war and natural disasters. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
So far, so good. Yeah, we'll ask when we have a challenge, but so far, so good. Yeah, we are following.
All right, okay. So now we can go to a few quantitative questions that we understand how to do the calculations. So questions also may come as follows. Number one, we would be told given the possibilities on the frontier with two goods A and B, if the economy is currently producing 10 units of A and 20 units of B, what is the opportunity cost of producing an additional unit of A? So we are actually going to calculate the opportunity cost as a ratio of units being given up on B for A. So in this case, it would simply be to divide the 20 units of B over the 10 units of A. This is what we call the MRT, marginal rate of transformation. So we're simply going to divide 20 divided by 10, which is going to be 2 units. So this is how we calculate it. If they're going to ask us how much of opportunity cost of producing an additional unit of B, we divide the vice versa, 10 divided by 20, which is 0.5. So if an economy is currently operating at a point inside the PPF, producing 80 units of X and 60 units of Y, what can be said about the efficiency of the resource allocation? So here the economy is operating inefficiently since it is producing below the maximum potential indicated by the PPF. So we are underutilizing the resources. If an economy's PPF is a straight line, it can produce a maximum of 100 units of X and 200 units of Y. What is the opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of X? So we're going to divide 200 divided by 100. So we're going to get 2 units. If an economy's PPF is concave and currently produces 60 units of A and 40 units of B, what is the opportunity cost of producing an additional unit of B? So in this case, we're going to divide. So we have 60 units of A and 40 units of B. So we're going to have 1.5 as opportunity cost. It's supposed to be 1.5, so just round it up here. All right. So basically, I was trying to bring across the concepts behind in a summarized manner. So we have concepts in opportunity cost, which is not marginal opportunity cost. So the concept of marginal opportunity cost simply brings about the principle of increasing marginal costs, which asserts that opportunity cost will increase the more you concentrate on an activity. So in order to get more of something, one must give up an ever increasing quantities of something else. So the MRT, which is the marginal rate of transformation, is simply the slope of the PPF. So for a linear function, like I said, the PPF marginal rate of substitution X for Y is simply the opportunity cost of X in terms of Y, where we just simply divide the price of X over the price of Y. So these are some of the computations that we must have to understand under the PPF. So I'll end here regarding the PPF.